Explain like I'm 5. Why do cheerleaders counts 5, 6, 7, 8 and not 1, 2, 3? Most of their movements is in counts of 8. So while chairing they are internally counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3. When they count in they are starting this count out loud so that everyone know where in the rhythm they are. But it takes a long time to count from 1 to 8. And it is not needed to get the rhythm. They therefore start the count at 5 to shorten the count in. The full count goes from 1 to 8. Since you want to start your performance on 1 2 3 4, you get ready by saying 5, 6, 7, 8 so everyone is coordinated on the next iteration which restarts at 1. This goes back to dance. Most songs are in 8-beat groupings. So you time your moves to go with the beat. So the first beat of the song is beat 1. You could 5, 6, 7, 8 because you don't need a full 8 counts of lead in to get ready to dance, so you only count the second group of beats so you start dancing at 1. How else do you get the Schmeichel, Schlamassel, Hassenpfeffer incorporated? Most dancers count their choreography from 1 to 8, a lot like how musicians are constantly counting. As well, their vocal count is just to make sure everyone is in time before the first bar first time they count 1. They don't need to start counting all the way from 1. 'Cause that's just tedious. So they give the last half of a bar 1 2 3 4, 5 6 7 8 to get in time before the first bar. Starting at 5 instead of 1 gives a chance for teammates to be able to synchronize before the real 8 count begins. It's also a way for the head cheerleader to alert the others of starting a new cheer or dance. Measures of music are usually in groups of 4. So musicians usually will start a song with 2, 3, 4, not 1, 2, 3 because the measure starts over after 4. Dancers usually group 2 measures together for dance steps. So they think more in terms of counts to 8. They count out 5, 6, 7, 8 because the next beat is beat 1 in the set of 8. I always counted 1, 3, 5, 7 during a routine, allowing time for the even numbers to be counted internally. But I always started 5, 6, 7, 8 in practice settings since this allows everyone's internal rhythm to sync up before initiating whatever movement we were practicing that starts on the count of 1. This could be deviated from depending on what weirdness we were doing. Because cheerleading is a form of dance rather than music, and dances, phrases are often 8 beats long rather than 4. Both musicians' dances use the previous 4 beats to count off before a start. It's just that musicians' previous 4 were 1.2.3.4 and dances' previous 4 were 5.6.7.8. They start with 5, 6, 7, 8 because it shortens the count going into the routine. Then they will start the first move on 1. So the beginning count will be 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then start with 1 again. This is mainly because most things begin on 1, so starting with 5 gives a few seconds for everyone to get on the same page before they start. Source was a college cheerleader. Because after 5678 you go back to 1234. It's the next step in the progression. It tees you up if you know why I mean. It has to do with music theory. And is used often not just in dance but with bands. And a lot of other mediums, yeah. What kills me is the 7 and 8. What sense of time are you keeping? Because this leads to 1. Giving direction to the movements so that they emphasize the 1 downbeat. There are a lot of answers that are grasping here. Cheerleaders, in large part, don't know how to read music. They don't know about there being 8/8 notes per measure. They could easily count 1/4. They do it because someone before them thought it sounded neater, cooler to do it that way. No band I've ever been a part of counts 5/8. But some of the singers, show choir, and musical folks did. Few of them knew music theory. They counted that way because that's how the people did it before them. Most movements are on even numbers. Plus counting one by one causes you to sometimes count too fast or too slow. Because cheerleaders have a hard time counting all the way to 8. They shortened it to 4 numbers to be sure they could keep track. As a dancer and musician, I've always done 5, 6, 7, 8 as well, because it means right after 8 you start your 8 count for something. People have addressed that they wouldn't say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, but if you're interested why they wouldn't just have 4, it's likely because in a 4/4 bar, there may be a lot more dance moves in each bar chunk. So dividing it into 8 is more precise. Otherwise you'd be saying 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 feet. Plus if you want to describe a move at a certain point, it would be easier to say 7 than half after 3 feet. Just want to pop in and clarify that in dance, the 8 counts are usually over 2 measures of 4 beats each. It is usually not subdividing one measure into 8 beats like a lot of the comments here are suggesting. That would be much too fast for common dance tempos. Dancers tend to use 8 counts. Musicians tend to use 4 counts. So when they're counting the last cycle before they start at the beginning of a 4-beat measure, count the end of the last one, then start on 1 again. Odds are they do 1, 2, 3, 4 on the previous measure silently in their heads, if the music comes in early enough, so you don't mistaken them for drummers. Is this common? I don't encounter cheerleaders much anymore, but remember it being common for their cheers to go 1, 2, 3, 4 cheer that ends rhyming with 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Cheer that ends rhyming with 8. They are doing an 8 count. In order to sync up everyone starting on 1, you start by counting off 5, 6, 7, 8. You don't need to count off an entire 8 count to get everyone synced. 4 beats will do. You want to set the tempo and give everyone a chance to start at the right time, like when you say, ready, set, go. It would be redundant and a waste of time to keep counting a full count before you want to start. So you only count the end leading to the start. For musicians, it would be the same as counting only the last beat or 2 of the previous measure 3, 4 in 4/4 time. A musical bar phrase in the music used to dance is tight and square and usually closes at 8 counts, even if it doesn't, and of them remains open-summed. The safe bet for all of us artists is to put 8 as a threshold. Imagine counting up to 16 every time. Yeah, me neither.